If you've been building your business in the way that you've been taught, hustling more, proving harder, doing more, and you're finding yourself really exhausted and not getting the results you want, I need you to listen to this. I've spent the last 7 years building my business, and what I'm about to share with you is everything that I have learned to move the needle forward in actually creating a business that feels really exciting to show up to every single day. This is the video that I wish someone sent me on day one. Stay till the end because the last lesson that I'm going to share with you is the one that changed everything for me. Hi, Queen. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna Sanchez, and if you're here, you're probably a feminine leader that wants to step into her power and live her dream life. So if that is you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and stay in tune with all the yummy, amazing videos I have coming up. Lesson number one that I learned in my 7 years of being in business: stop leading from scarcity and start leading from abundance. Leading from scarcity is a recipe for a business built on burnout. When you're operating from the energy of, I have to, I'm behind, I better get this client or I'm screwed, you're building on a cracked foundation. Leading from a place of abundance, which is you truly trusting that your success is inevitable, that there's more than enough clients out there for you, and that you don't have to chase anything, that starts to build a business on a solid foundation. That is what creates sustainable success instead of a business that you feel like you have to escape from. What does a scarcity-led business actually look like? It looks like you overworking yourself, burning yourself out, undercharging, saying yes to things out of fear rather than actual knowing, and chasing clients instead of attracting. There's a completely different energy when you're coming from a place of, I am having conversations with people because I truly want to connect and I want to serve, rather than I am having connections with people because I need to make money. And if I don't make money, I am completely screwed and I'm going to be homeless and die. There's two different energies here. One is abundance, one is scarcity. Scarcity energy is really felt by the other person on the other side of whatever service it is that you are providing and marketing and selling. When you are operating from that state that something is missing, that you're not worthy, that you don't feel good enough, or that you're afraid that things are just all going to fall apart, that energy is a very repelling energy. It puts a lot of tension and a lot of force out into the universe. And what happens? You start to push away the opportunities that can come your way. You start putting that resistant, forceful energy into the universe. And then the clients that are actually meant to come your way start getting pushed further and further and further away. So if you're operating from scarcity and fear, you're only going to get more scarcity and fear, which means you're going to have crickets when it comes to actually attracting clients in your business. So you can be saying all the right things in your marketing. You can be doing all the right things, sending the emails, posting the content, going to networking events, doing all the right things, and still not having the success because you're operating from scarcity and fear. I worked with this woman one time. She was doing all the right things, going to all the networking events. She even had this AI system do these automations for her in the back end where she was sending hundreds of messages a day and no one was responding back to the messages. And I asked her to show me more of what that process looked like. The process was a process that was not personable. She wasn't doing it to create relationships. She was just sending out as many messages as possible because she was playing a numbers game and she thought that the more messages she would send, the more clients she would get. But in reality, she was finding herself in a state of scarcity in her business. The intention that she had towards creating relationships was one out of fear. It was not one out of love, not one out of connection, not one out of true service. So when you're operating from that state of scarcity, you're going to repel clients. The thing about scarcity is that it is also a nervous system state of survival. You can't build a beautiful visionary business when you're in a state of survival. When your nervous system is dysregulated, you're always scanning your surroundings for a threat. So if you're always putting all your energy onto the next shoe dropping, the next thing going wrong in your business, you don't give yourself the opportunity to be in your visionary energy because you're too busy surviving out of fear and out of scarcity. I remember hosting my first retreat. Every single morning, I would sit in ceremony and I would pray over this retreat. I would go and hang little posters in my town. And right before I went into the coffee shops to hang the posters, I would just sit in my car listening to a retreat song that I picked, crying, feeling the energy of this retreat, feeling so abundant, having visions of what this retreat was going to be like. And that was my first retreat, which I sold out. Now, the second retreat came along. Guess what I didn't do? I didn't spend every morning praying or connecting to the energy of the retreat. I didn't feel abundant for this retreat. I actually felt really afraid because I felt like I had the pressure of succeeding like I did in the last retreat, and that if I didn't succeed like I did in the last retreat, then I wasn't going to be good enough and I was going to fail. So what happened? The dates got closer to host that retreat and I didn't have any sign up. So I had to move the dates over a month later. And guess what I started to do? I started to feel into the abundance of that retreat. I started to have visualization practices of what the retreat was going to be like. I was pouring all of my good energy and intention into the energy of that retreat. And guess what happened? That retreat also sold out. So this goes to show the energy that you're pouring into your creations, the energy that you're pouring into your business really make a difference. It really drives the outcomes and the results that you're creating in your business. Are you coming from a state of scarcity and fear, or are you coming from a state of abundance? Now, I've also noticed on the other side of things that there are people still operating from a state of scarcity and fear and still seeing results. But guess what I have found as I've connected with a lot of these people? Deep inside of them, they don't feel abundant. They're feeling fear, they're feeling scarcity, they're waking up every day to a business that feels like at any moment is going to fall apart. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live my life in that energy. I rather feel abundant, waking up every day feeling so good about what I'm creating. I have a client that I'm working with right now that is cultivating this deeper sense of abundance and embodying more of her abundance towards her creations. And it's really beautiful to witness her feeling so elated, so excited every day. She's like, at this point, I don't even care about the outcome. I don't even care if people sign up for my program because I feel so abundant. I feel unstoppable. I feel so good. And that is what leading your business from an abundant state feels like. It feels so good inside. And that's true purpose. That is true alignment. Scarcity drains your life force. Abundance gives you life force. And as the vessel of creation towards your business, it is really important that you're filling yourself up with life force, not draining your life force. So something that you can do is write down all the business decisions that you're making on a day-to-day basis, and right next to them, write down, am I actually doing this from a state of abundance, or is this coming from fear or scarcity? And you're going to notice what percentage of your business you're actually leading from scarcity versus what you're leading from abundance. Once you shift out of scarcity, there is a second trap that almost every ambitious woman falls into in her business, and I did, and that is the next lesson that I'm going to share with you. Lesson number 2, you are not a man. So stop working like one. So much business advice out there is built on masculine, linear hustle culture models. Grind, push, force, more hours. But the thing is, you weren't built to operate in that way. You were not built to fit this masculine mold. And this is exactly why so many ambitious women out there are burning out. The inner flame that us ambitious women have is so big. It is our creative power, but we have not been taught how to properly use it. We've been taught that we need to burn it out by doing more. But the truth is that the way that we tend to this inner fire is by allowing ourselves to realize that rest is also productive. You have to balance that action with rest and relaxation to keep this fire inside of you alive and to no longer burn out. You have to find what are your own unique ingredients to keep this fire alive. What keeps my fire alive is going out in nature more, resting when my body is asking for it, movement, dancing, making sure that I'm not just sitting in front of a computer all day. Another thing that keeps my fire alive is making sure that I have a devotional practice every single morning. A devotional practice is a practice where I sit with myself. I love to personally drink tea in the mornings to connect to my senses, light an incense, and I listen to this practice that I created for myself, a somatic practice where I get to embody the next level of who I am becoming. I get to feel her, and I ask that energy inside of my body, what action step do I need to take today to really embody more of the frequency of what I'm calling in? And it is so powerful, and it is what keeps my fire alive. Feminine energy is cyclical. Guess what, sis? You have a monthly cycle.
No way!
Every week, you feel different. So it's so important for you to understand how you feel every single week and to plan your work schedule around how you feel. During menstrual phase, I like to take a day completely off. I have this boundary with all of my clients. They all know that on day one of my bleed, I do not do any calls. I do not connect with them. I am just in a state of flow, receptivity, and just being. And what I have found is that on these days, it's when most of my creative energy comes alive because I'm giving myself spaciousness to receive. That is how you lead a business through the feminine. You're not supposed to be on all the time like a man. Our hormones are not created that way. This is another reason why women are burning out. What makes us really powerful as women when it comes to our leadership in our business is that if we are taking space to be within and to connect to our desires, and we allow those desires to grow bigger and wider in our bodies, and we open our hearts to receive those desires, we become a energetic match for what we are desiring. For instance, if you're trying to call high level clients in your business and you're just forcing and doing and getting on all the conversations and doing all the things and you're not seeing anything happen, it's because you haven't allowed yourself to actually feel what it feels like to have this desire met in your body. What I invite you to do is to balance both, having spaciousness to be with your desire, welcoming the desire of these high level clients into your body, visualizing that reality, feeling the feelings of that reality coming true, getting yourself in that really good, yummy energy. And then when it's time for you to take action and have conversations and do things in your business, you are coming from a very yummy, delicious place of already feeling those desires being met. And that is how we move feminine energy into the actions that we're creating and how we magnetize what we actually want to us. We are feminine feeling beings. And when we know how to deeply feel and magnetize our desires to us, that is when we stop chasing in our business and we actually start attracting, which is really powerful. You know what amplifies that? Having fun, playing, schedule more playtime, schedule more time to celebrate your life as if you've already made all the success that you're after. Watch your business up level in ways that you couldn't even imagine. So listen, babe, this isn't about doing less. This is about working smarter and in alignment with how you're actually built as a feminine being with a feminine body. Lesson number 3 that I learned in these past 7 years. People buy from people they know genuinely care. Let's talk about heart-led sales. We have to be really real right now. On social media, people are being sold to every single day. When I started social media almost a decade ago, almost nobody was being sold to. So the sales tactics that we were being shown by all the bro coaches worked. But what has happened over the years is that people are getting tired of being sold to. People genuinely want to build relationships and build trust with the person that is going to guide them, that is going to provide a service for them. The truth is that audiences are the most smartest right now. They're the most discerning. And so it's so important that you're coming from a state, an energetic state of service, of truly wanting to be of service, of truly wanting to build connection and relationships, not from a place of needing to sell somebody. This is where we get to really shift the perspective of what sales mean. Sales do not mean you're extracting from somebody just to have your needs met. Sales means you are building relationships, connection, and deep trust with the person that you are serving. When you know that what you are serving the world with, your offerings, your products, whatever it may be, when you know that it is so powerful, the service you're providing is a service that will change someone's life. When you feel that, and you've become the embodiment of this knowing, that energy is felt. Now, when you're still doubting and questioning your services or your products, and you're not really sure, and you're coming from that state of confusion, that energy is also felt, and that energy is repelling. When I started my journey as an embodiment coach and I launched my first program, I had so much difficulty in selling that program because I still wasn't convicted in what I was selling. I still felt like I wasn't good enough to be providing this type of service. And that took me down a path of having to really sit and reflect on the creation that I was bringing into people's lives and connect to it and feel how potent and powerful and transformative it is in my body, in my being, before I felt like I actually had confidence to sell it. As I started to embody more of this confidence and this knowing that the service that I am providing these people is so powerful and so transformative, now I don't get on sales calls and get into this weird energy of needing from the other person. I am rooted in my own sovereign energy, in my own groundedness, knowing that the sales call is simply just an invitation for this person to change their life, for this person to upgrade and uplevel their life in a whole new way. And that them taking that step is on them. I am here to guide them to that step. But at the end of the day, the decision is theirs. I'm here to hold them through the fears that may arise, coach them through it. But at the end of the day, it's up to them to take that leap. That is not my responsibility. I am just simply the guide. And that has completely changed the energetics of sales for me. And I also have found that I feel even more inspired and motivated to support them through the process of moving through fear and actually taking the step forward. Whereas before, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, you feel like you don't have the money right now. Okay, that's fine. When you're ready, I'm here." And that energy was just me collapsing because I wasn't grounded in my own knowing that my offering is so freaking amazing and it is a privilege for somebody to join it. And it just put me in this really repelling energy. So practice that I recommend before you get on a sales call or you go into a business meeting is to have a pre-call or meeting ritual with yourself. Connect to your heart, connect to the service that you are providing in the world. Connect to how powerful your offering is or whatever it is that you're serving the other person with. Really feel that, feel your worthiness, feel how you have been assigned by a higher power to bring this service to the world and how incredible that is. Get yourself in all of those really good feelings. And I promise you that when you go into the meeting or the call, you're going to feel so much more powerful and strong in your energy. Lesson number 4 that I learned in these past 7 years: find systems that actually work with your energetic blueprint. Not every productivity system, business model, or proven method is built for you. What works for one entrepreneur can completely burn another entrepreneur out. The business industry treats system as a one size fits all when they're actually not. I personally feel that we are all very unique beings and we all work differently. And the journey of entrepreneurship is finding what works and leaving what doesn't. A couple years back, I forced myself into a system that did not work for me. I spent 2 years following this system. And what I noticed was every single launch started to attract less and less people because I started to feel more and more drained following this system that just didn't work for me. It felt like I was forcing myself to follow this system until at one point I broke and started to do things differently. And what I realized is that with the last launch that I had with this same program, my sales and marketing system was completely different, something that I learned elsewhere and also infused some of my magic into it. And I had a lot more success. If you're starting an entrepreneurship journey and you're trying to learn what system works for you, let yourself be curious, let yourself fail. You might try a system and it doesn't work for you, and you keep trying systems until you find what works for you. But please do not mold yourself into a system that is draining your life force, especially as a woman, because that is going to lead to more burnout. Some signs that a system doesn't fit: this dread that you feel every single day towards that system, needing to force yourself all the time versus the occasional resistance. Occasional resistance is normal, but if you're feeling like you're forcing and burning out, not feeling good, that's a huge sign. Results that don't match the effort that you're putting in, constantly feeling like you're falling off from following the system step by step and blaming yourself for. Some signs that a system actually fits: feel like it's actually giving you life force energy. You can sustain the system even when it's a hard month or a hard season in your life. It produces results without draining you completely and burning you out. If you know anything about human design, I am a manifesting generator, and what is known about my energetic blueprint is that I like to create multiple things at once. And I actually find that that is so exciting for me to do. I have other friends that are not manifesting generators that are like, that sounds so draining for me. There is absolutely no way that I can do that. Two different beings. Nobody is wrong. We're just built differently, and we need systems to support how different we are built. So here's a simple self-check before making any decision to follow a system or a strategy. Ask yourself this: does my body relax or tighten when I think about doing this for the next 90 days? And visualize yourself actually following that system for 90 days. Maybe it's a system that in the beginning feels like there's a lot of work, but you know that afterwards you're gonna feel so good because you did it and it lights you up. Or maybe it's a system that you know, even after you put in all the hard work, is probably not gonna work for your blueprint. Only you will know. And sometimes it takes you just following a system to realize that it doesn't work, so let it be messy. Systems are only half of the equation, because who you let into your business matters just as much as how you run it. And this next one might be the most expensive lesson I have ever learned. Lesson number 5: stop investing in mentors whose lives you do not want to live. Hiring a mentor is one of the most highest leverage decisions that you will make in your business, and one of the easiest that you can get wrong if you are moving from scarcity rather than discernment. Taking my time has been the best strategy that I have used in finding a mentor. I'm currently looking to hire a mentor in the next year to 2 years, and I have a couple of mentors that I am looking at. Before, the first mentor that would pop up would be the one that I'd be like, her, she has the answers, and I would just like consume all their content and be like, her, it's her, it's her, I need to do it now. Would do it then, would throw myself in these loops, wouldn't even think the decision through, and then came to find out $20,000 later, this mentor was not for me. Now, because I've learned that lesson, I have been taking my time. I've been going to different workshops and different events with different mentors and letting my body lead me with patience, with slowness. So just know, slowing down is a power move. It's not a missed opportunity, even when the FOMO gets really real. Now, this is the real due diligence that most people override. What does this person's actual day-to-day life look like? Not just their highlight reels on social media. Ask them questions about their day-to-day. Ask them questions about how they lead their business. Ask them questions about how free they actually feel. Feel the energy when they answer. You'll know if they're answering from a place of truth or if they're lying. And this is where strengthening your discernment is really important. Do you feel regulated in their presence and in their content? Do you feel anxious or small? Now, there's also the other side of things of you might be triggered by this person. But if you are triggered by a person that really truly inspires you, you're going to feel the desire inside of you to work with them. If you're feeling triggered by a person who's just not in alignment, you're not going to feel the desire to work with them. You're going to be repelled from them. This is where being sensitive to your inner world and your energy is so important to understand what mentorship is actually best for you. This next one is huge. Asking them who is in the infrastructure of their business. Ask them about the team that they have. I recently invested in a mentorship where I didn't know that this mentor's partner was the one planning a lot of her schedule for her and organizing a lot of her business for her. He was pretty much the CEO telling her what to do. When I found that out inside of the container, I felt disconnected from the mentor. I thought that she was doing everything herself. No, she had a team, but she never mentioned that there was somebody that was being the whole CEO of the business. Because that wasn't disclosed from the beginning, I started to feel repelled. I started to feel disconnected, and I started to feel like that was not truly in integrity. And that taught me this lesson. We deserve to know what we're investing into. So ask the questions, go deep into the questions, not just what they're saying in their marketing. Really ask them about their life and their business and their team. Here's a little tip for you. Before investing in any other mentorship or program, ask yourself, am I doing this from a place of true trust and feeling the nudge in my heart to do this? Or am I doing this from a fear of missing out? And the last lesson, my favorite lesson of them all that I'm so happy that I learned was stay devoted to a higher power, whatever that means to you. God, universe, source. I love to use the word source. Let this higher power channel through you into your creations. I promise you, your creations and your offerings will be so much more powerful, so much more transformative, so much more felt by the person you're serving when you allow something much bigger than you to move through your body as a vessel of that thing that's much bigger than you and into the actions that you're doing, into your marketing, into your sales. At the deepest level, a sustainable business is not built on strategy alone. It's built on staying connected to something much bigger than your own effort. There is a huge difference of creating in your business from a place of, I have to, this is what I need to do. It goes back to scarcity. It goes back to fear. That's a completely different energy than coming from a place of, I open myself up to channel what wants to be created through me. God, source, universe, show me. I am opening myself up to receive what is meant to channel through me, through my own uniqueness, through my own unique voice, through my own unique expression, to my own unique creative process. Show me. And the thing about creating a business that's led with higher power, with source energy, is that it takes devotion. This is where bringing in your daily practice is really important. In your daily practice, sending out a prayer, asking for support, asking to be shown. I promise you, when you do this, it's really crazy what starts to happen in your reality and how different synchronicities will show up in your life that will lead you to the next steps of what you're meant to create and how you're meant to create it. I think that that's a way more powerful way than just trying to follow this rigid way of leading my business. I'd rather allow source to be my boss, right? I'd rather allow source to be the CEO of my business, who I get to co-create with, and I'm not just doing it all alone. I find that when you're disconnected from source, that's when you start getting in that really chasey, gripping, proving energy. But when you're connected to source and you've learned how to trust and how to have faith in something much bigger than you, you're less in that energy of chasing and you're more in the energy of attraction and magnetism. The thing about staying devoted to higher power in your business is that you learn the true art of surrendering. You learn how to have trust and faith at the deepest level, knowing with every bit of you that the calling that you feel in your heart is inevitable for it to happen. It's almost like having a best friend by your side who you know no matter what will never let you down, who always has your back, who you know that no matter what is happening in your business, you will be provided for it and taken care of. Although it's been really, really difficult and challenging at times when I wanted to grip onto control, it has been my favorite lesson because there's been moments in my business where I was like, I don't know how I'm even going to survive right now. And I've just leaned into deeper trust and deeper faith. And no matter what, I've always been provided for and taken care of through every single leap that I've taken in my business. I never had mommy's money. I never had daddy's money. I came from a low income household where I didn't really have financial support. So I've had to do everything on my own. And leaning into a higher power has been so powerful in this journey. And I feel like I was meant to learn how to trust and surrender in this way to show other people that when you take big leaps in your life, when you actually go after your dreams, when you actually follow your heart's calling, higher power, source, God, universe will support you. You are not alone in your journey. You're not meant to do it alone. There's so much energy around you, supporting you, holding you, providing safety for you. I promise when you lean in and trust this energy, your whole business will shift. These 6 lessons took me 7 years to learn the hard way. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. The business you're building should feel like it's an expression of who you are. It should feel magical. It should feel powerful. It should feel like it is artistry. It should not feel like a performance of who you think you need to be. It should not feel like you're putting yourself in a cage. That is probably why you left the corporate world or didn't even want to go down that path. Your business should feel expansive and abundant and beautiful. So I hope this video resonated with you. Comment below and tell me which one of these 6 lessons hit the hardest for you. I read all of the comments and it helps me know exactly what to make next for you. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.